Alright guys, welcome back. This is going to be a example of a destructive method of removing pistons that are stuck and seized in a cylinder. This one was extremely stuck. I've had this bottom end for probably 4 or 5 years, and maybe 3 or 4 times over that time I've tried to get this thing free without being destructive. You know, the normal techniques, soaking it and heating it, soaking it and heating it, and never had much luck. I think I had it so hot one time that the cylinder liners actually came out of the jugs, or out of the fin part. It's also sort of a test on my part because I've never done it this way before. Frankly, I've never had to do it this way before. Worked on hundreds of motors and I've always managed to get them free just by heat cycles and soaking and whatnot. But this one always bugged me. So the point of this job was to save the crankshaft and the rods. We did do that. I wasn't worried about the case, not worried about the cylinders all that much. The liners are shot anyway, I know that, so if we can save the fin part, that's fine. It's already got one broken piece off of it. So let's see how we got to this point. Alright guys, so what we have here is a CB450. Cylinders, crank, upper crank case. The story on this thing is that I believe the top end was left open. You can see the rust down in there. Now I've had this motor for years and I just kind of use it as a doorstop, to be honest with you. However, the crank is good and I have somebody that wants the crank, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to free it from the sleeve destructively by drilling probably 2 holes on each side of the piston, front and back, and breaking the piston actually away from the cylinder wall. That way I can pull the crankshaft completely out. The crankshaft is not connected on the bottom end anymore. The journals are off of it, so it should just come straight out the bottom. So how I'm going to drill this is basically take this piston. You got a pin going through it, of course, in the middle. I want to drill in this area, in these areas. I don't want to drill straight in the middle, and I don't want to drill on the sides because I don't want to risk running into the pin or the rod. So I want to try to get front and back in this void here and break that section away. Hopefully then the center section will free up. So let's see what happens. Alright, you probably saw that piston's actually moving now. Can't believe I took that much stress off of it, but apparently I did, because before I started this I did some pounding on it just to make sure that I wasn't wasting my time, and it was not moving. So we've done something. I'm curious whether or not I'm just bending the rod though, because I can't really see that the other side is actually moving. So let me look at the bottom. Alright, something is moving, because when I started this rod was at the bottom and this rod was at top dead center. So we are rotating. That's interesting. I just figured out this is why the other piston is not actually moving in the bore. Notice the gap here. what's happening is this piston is going down and this piston's going up, but it's taking the whole cylinder with it. So I'm going to move over to the other cylinder and see if I can get it to break free like this one did, just by drilling those holes in it and relieving some stress. Again, kind of surprised I didn't have to break out the piston to relieve that stress, but you know, sometimes you might get lucky. So let me go ahead and work on the other one. I'll drill it a couple places and bang on it. Plane going overhead. C130 out of Dobbins. I'm going to crib up the bottom of the case here so that the crankshaft has a little room to move up and down. Like I said, it is free. It has no journals on it. It is not bolted in. Okay, I got the case cribbed up. The crankshaft will now fall down free. It's got about inch and a half. And let's drill our other piston here. See if I can get down in here. I can feel it when it hits that ring. Kind of binds up and then it just breaks it. It's moving. Crank has actually come down about 1/8 of an inch. You can watch right here, this gap is opened up. I'm not quite sure that this piston is actually moving at all. But how would it not be? I guess if I'm rotating. I'm not sure. Something with a little bit more bump behind it. Okay, it did move that time. For sure, because I see the break in the rust. I think this side was actually the one that was stuck the most. The other side, actually, as it's come down, the bore doesn't look half bad. So you can see here on the left side how much we got to go. That's the pin right there. So it's got basically half the pin left in the rings. Let's just keep pounding on it. It's almost there. Or I think we broke a little case off. That might be what's hanging up in here. Oh. Yep. What did we break off? Not cylinders. Alright, let's take a look at that cylinder. That was the bad one. As you can see, it wasn't going out upwards. Well, it wouldn't go out upwards anyway, but you know what I mean. This side is actually not that bad. But they're just scrap. I'll probably strip the liners out and just sell the fins. You know what? I think I forgot about here. You can tell I don't do this very often. I don't need to do this very often. That's what broke out. There's a lip on these cases underneath, so the pistons, oh, that piston just tore up. But there is, the piston won't go through the case. I forgot about that. That's my fault. So that's why we had broken pieces, and that's why it seemed to be stuck. And when I was down there at the very bottom. So let's take these pistons off and we'll take a look at them. Okay, so this piston broke apart for reasons I'll show you in a minute. Kind of a mistake on my part, but that's all right. And I probably cracked, yeah, no, I did. You can probably not see in there, but when I drilled through, I actually cracked the back of the rings. Honestly, it must have helped, but not sure how. So the drilling method, we're going to call this mixed results. I probably could have done a few more holes, but after that other side was moving, I kind of got ahead of myself, but that's okay. The problem is, although this seems to break up very easily, this piece is a lot thicker. It did not break up easily. Now, if you put a bunch of holes in there, you probably could do it. But basically, you know, once it starts moving, why do that? Okay, so that's that. The case, this is what I was doing to the case, which was stupid. I got down to a point and I thought the case was hanging down far enough, but it wasn't. It was actually hitting these shelves right here. That's what broke up that other piston. But that's okay. This is scrap. It was most likely going to be scrap anyway because it's got some problems. It had some problems elsewhere. It had a crack somewhere else. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's scrap. So alright, I think we had mixed results here. I think on the one piston that the drilling and breaking the back of the rings did help a little. Got the job done, let's just put it that way. So after several years of being a doorstop and attempts at getting this thing free, it's going to live to ride again. At least the crankshaft is anyway. So thanks for watching and we'll see you next time.